a lot of money to play for. And there's definitely been some interesting pots. I mean, Mateos ran pretty cold again to exit his second final table. Lost, really, he didn't go out on this hand, but lost a pretty huge pot to Punzeri with ace-king to ace-queen. And Punzeri river to queen.
So picking up with these pocket kings, Dimitar Danchev flatting the small blind here. Isaac Haxton electing to size up here. What do you think the aim of that is on this texture against the small blind range?
I think it's a spot where he's immediately polarizing some because the small blind flat range like hits a queen jack off like a decent amount with stuff that can continue. Queen 10, king 10, jack 10, king
And
jack,
when they don't, they're just going to fold anyway, so you might as well.
So he's not c-betting all the time, and when he does, he's sizing up. You know, so he's immediately polarizing as opposed to like a smaller bet with like most to all of his range.
Yeah, and you can see how it even brings in the likes of ace-10. You know, maybe one of the worst hands we would see Danchev continuing with, but drawing to the nuts is going to peel one turn queen.
Yeah, agreed. With that analysis.
Always tricky these spots where, you know, your opponent is going to be hitting this card that has potentially tripped them up. Difficult for you to get, you know, much value from draws anymore if there were straight draws. And, you know, some jacks might even fold if you do bet again. Not often, but maybe in these particular.
I think this is a spot where Danchev is going to bluff a decent amount because he doesn't have too many worse hands that are calling half pot at OOP on the flop. Ike's not checking back a queen a lot, and he's not betting half pot with a jack a lot. So Ike actually has a pretty sweet hand to call with. Other than that, you're blocking king 10. But like other in the fact that you're the bet check line. But interesting, none of that, all that's speculation because Danchev decided not to bluff his hand.
Yeah, we often talk about, you know, when you get sort of to the river with, say, the bottom of your range based on how the hand plays out, that you should be bluffing a lot of the time. But I think this is really great instincts from Dimitar, maybe also recognizing the strength of that flop bet. And then it's not just, you know, some random hand like 8-9 suited, and even if it is, ace-high would be good against that. So.
Yeah, and that hand would bluff here, which is exactly the type of hand that Danchev is thinking that he beats.
There you go.
You know, Ike's also good enough to check back a hand like a queen. I do wonder if he went bet check, would he choose half pot with a queen on the river on such just a dry board where trip queens is like pretty close to the nuts? But I mean, you would think maybe he would at some frequency, even if he normally sized up more with 3 queens.
I guess the problem that Danchev might run into is that, you know, Ike could make this bet with ace-jack. Now, would he have bet half pot on the flop with ace-jack? You know, maybe he wouldn't have sized up that much. So maybe he does.
Ace-jack is a hand, if, let's say he only had 1 bet sizing, I think he might check ace-jack quite a bit on the flop.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
so if you can take out a lot of the jacks because of how stiff that flop bet was, it does become quite polar. And because he checked back, like you said, you know, maybe less likely he has a queen.
The 10's a really bad card, kind of. I mean, because a lot of Ike's bluffs, like 10-9, 10-8, king 10 type hands might have a 10 in them. The ace is a pretty good card, though. Ike's not bluffing ace-high much, and he's nice blocking aces or ace-queen, or if somehow ace-jack made its way in there, like ace-jack would fit for this bet on the river if he somehow got here that way, which is a little bit more unlikely, but he finds the fold.
You know, it's funny. I've seen Dimitar Danchev on so many